In Lesson 5-6A, a Minnesota Essential Added lesson, we're going to learn about Venn diagrams. You're going to need your whiteboard marker, and your Unit 5 packet. None of this is in your math journal, okay? Let's go ahead and solve 5 basic multiplication and division fact problems. Number 1 to 5. Remember, this symbol also means to divide. So write answers only. Go ahead and solve. Pause the video until you're done. All right, you should have your answers down. 11 times 6 is 66. 12 times 4 is 48. 6 times 12 is 72. 36 divided by 12 is 3, and 77 divided by 11 is 7. All right, we're going to move right into our packets in the Venn diagrams. Look for lesson 5-6A. Go ahead and pause the video until you find it. We're going to talk about Venn diagrams. The Venn diagram below shows the factors of 20 and 30. You'll notice that the circles intersect. These are numbers that they have in common. The numbers on the other portion of the oval or circle are ones that just belong to the factors of 30 and just belong to the factors of 20. All right, so be aware, again, anything in the middle, factors of both. Which numbers are factors of 20 but not factors of 30? So we're looking at anything in this particular area. So let's go ahead and write down those two numbers. 20 and 4 are factors, and they are not factors of 30. Number 2, which numbers are factors of both 20 and 30? That's where we're looking where these circles intersect or cross over one another. So we have 1, 2, 5, and 10. List all the factors of 30. Now, when we're listing the factors of 30, it would be everything inside of this circle. So I'm going to put them in order just so I know I don't forget them, or I could just make a little mark on them so I remember that they've been written down. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, and 30. Usually when you write factors in a list, we try to write them in order. What is the greatest common factor of 20 and 30? So we have to look in this section where they intersect or they cross over. The greatest means the largest. What's the largest number they have in common? 1, 2, 5, 10. Which is the largest? It is 10. Continuing down the page, Mrs. Berry teaches math and science. The Venn diagram below shows the number of students in her classes. So she has a math class that she teaches. That would include everybody in this red circle. She also teaches a science class. Everybody in the yellow circle is in her science class. And anyone that is in both classes is in this darker area, or this darker cross section where the two circles intersect. So let's take a look at how many students are in Mrs. Berry's math class. Let's go back to her math class. So we have to take 21 plus 5, which is 26. How many students are in her science class? Let's look at just her science class. 19 plus 5, or 5 more than 19? 24 students. C. How many students have Mrs. Berry for both math and science? That would be this section where they intersect or they cross over one another. And that would be 5. And last question for this Venn diagram. How many students have Mrs. Berry as a teacher in at least one class? Well, that would be these 21 kids, these 19, and these 5 kids I only count once because those kids are the same kids. They're in science and math, so I just count them once. So somewhere on your sheet of paper, go ahead and add 19 plus 21 plus 5. Go ahead and add that. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 5 is 15. 1 plus 1 plus 2 is 45 students. The 4th graders at Lincoln Elementary School were asked whether they write with their left or right hand. A small number of students reported that they were ambidextrous, which means that they write equally well with either hand. The survey results are shown in the Venn diagram at the right. So here we go. These kids in the middle are ambidextrous, which means they can write as well with either hand. So in all, how many students were surveyed? What we need to go ahead is add together the numbers. So over on the side, please add together 82 plus 15 plus 3. I'll go ahead and give you a moment to complete that. Two plus 5 is 7 plus 3 is 10. 1 plus 8 plus 1 is 100. 100 students. How many students are ambidextrous? They can write with either hand. Again, those are the kids that go in either circle. That go in both circles. So that would be 3 students. How many students always write with their left hand? So we're looking at just the number that's on this side of the circle, 15. How many students never write with their left hand? So that wouldn't be this one, and it wouldn't be those here. We're just looking at the ones that are only right-handed. 82 of them. All right, let's try one more. Mr. Wu has 32 students in his 4th grade homeroom. He identified all students who scored 90% or above on each test. Mr. Wu then drew the Venn diagram at the right. So you notice a little bit of a difference here. We now have 3 circles that intersect. So students that scored 90% or above in math are in the yellow circle. Those that scored 90 or above in history are in the red circle. And the students who scored 90% or above in science are in the green circle. So which students scored 90% or above on all 3 tests? Which name is in the yellow, red, and green circle? There's only one. It's Jill. B, which student scored 90% or above on exactly one test? So only one test. So we would have Letitia. She's only in one circle. Don't forget to fill this out with me as we are going through this lesson. Elise is only in one circle. They're both in the yellow circle. Sancho is just in the history circle. And Purnima is just in the green circle, the science. Which students scored 90% or above in both math and science? So let's go ahead and look at math in red, science in green. So which names are circled or in the circle that's red and green? Jill is in red and green, as is Corey and Hasnai. I'm not sure how to say that. And lastly, which student scored 90% or above in both history and math? History is in red. Math is in yellow. So who is in both circles? There's only one. Jill. All right, go ahead and complete the work for the rest of math today.